All right, so I'm going to build part 7 here, and let's get started. So I'm going to let's double check workspace units. Millimeter grams good. Front. Sketch on my front plane. My height is 30. So that's where I'm going to start. Right here, construction line at 30. Dimension that out to 30. All right. Now as I'm going to come in here, I'm going to sketch out my initial shape, half of this. I'm going to mirror this over. So I'm going to just sketch out half of this shape like so. So I believe something like this. Now, if you notice, as I'm going along, I have these little lines that are coming up on my underneath, like that 6 right there. There's a little line that's telling me that line's horizontal and that one's vertical, right? So those are actually coming in as constraints. So if I hit show constraints, I just locked in all these constraints, and sometimes these are good, sometimes they make something difficult for us, right? Because they make something impossible. But if this line here isn't horizontal, that's problematic as well. So just to give you an idea, that is there in the background. So I'm going to start dimensioning this out: 20, 10, 8, 7. So I'm going to be cutting all these in half, right? Dimension this line will be 10. This will be 5. From here to here was 8. So now I should dimension from here to here, keep that at 30, pull that back up, and this one was 7. So 30, 37, and then right here I got 20 to this point, 30 to this point, and then 50 overall. So 20, 30, 50. So 20 to this point, so that's going to be 10. 30 to this point, so that's going to be 15. And then 50 overall, so this is going to be 25. All right, and everything now is locked in, right? Everything's black, which means everything's fully defined. And I got an overall length of 40 on that. So what I'm going to do for this part, since I have this cut here, I will mirror it, but I'm going to mirror the actual part since it's identical on both sides. So I'm only going to extrude out half. I'm going to build half of this and build half of it really well. And then, so as I come out here to my sketch, I'm going to extrude that to 40. I got to click here. For some reason, that's not wanting to work. Let me go back. Oh, I'm missing a line right here. Okay. And what that means is I don't actually have a shape, I just have lines. So I got to add this line in here, and now I have a shape that is grayed in. Now that it's gray, now I can extrude it because I have a shape. So there's my 40. So now I'm going to face it to the right, and I've got my next sketch here. I'm going to be sketching out this hole. Oh. So sketch, and it's asking me what plane. I want to make sure I'm selecting this plane here to sketch on. And then I'm actually going to do a center point rectangle. It's going to make things easier. and I'm going to lock that into the center. Okay, so I'm going to lock it into the center, and I'm going to drag it out from the center. All right, so now everything is locked onto the center, and I can start dimensioning parts of this out. I believe that was at 5. And then it's 10 by 20. So this here is a 20. All right, so this happens sometimes. And I wish I could explain it to you. I don't really know why, but it's okay. We're gonna just come in here and we're gonna delete this. All right, so I'm gonna go off my dimension tool. I'm clicking back on this, and on my keyboard, I'm hitting delete. I'm gonna go back into my dimension tool, and I'm just gonna dimension from this line to this line, which will still be the same thing. It'll still give me my 20, and if it's gonna do the same thing, I can, here I'm just gonna not take a chance. I'm gonna go right here and make that 10. All right, now it's messed up about some constraints because it's saying it cannot keep this in the center because I locked it into the center. And it's saying it can't keep this at 5 and this in the center. So that's okay. I'm just gonna delete some of these constraints here by clicking on it and hitting the delete button, right? So I can delete some of these constraints till I solve. So there we go. So now I can't have it locked on the center. That's what it's essentially telling me, because it's not centered. So if we look at this, it's closer to the top than it is the bottom. So that's okay. So now these are not blue, but we're at 20 wide, 10 high, and now I'm just going to tell it where to go in relation to this space. So I know that if this is 40 overall, right, and this is 20, that this here, from here to here, this should be 10. And if you can see, I don't know if it was set at 10, and this side here should obviously be 10 as well. When it starts there, so there. Now everything is black and it is fully defined. I'm going to accept that sketch, highlight my sketch 2, and I'm going to extrude, and I'm going to not add, but I'm going to remove. And I don't want it to actually cut through, because then when I come through to the other side, it's going to be too much. So I'm going to click on one of these corners here. Actually, I'm going to click on this other corner. Yeah, I'll go right here in the middle. If I click on this arrow, I can pick the extrusion myself, right? So I want it to come all the way through, right? But not continue. I want it to come far enough into this, but not hit the other side, right? So I just wanted my plane to end right about there, just on the other side of that. So if it cuts into itself a little bit, that's okay. So right there, that is done. Now I'm going to work on my holes, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to the top view, and I got 24 distance apart, diameter of 5, and this is telling me there are 40 from center to center. So 20 off of my center line. All right, so let's start over in here. So my hole is gonna be right here. I'm gonna sketch. Need to select this as my plane. Gonna start with that hole right here in the center. And instead of doing 1 or 2 holes, like I like to do, I'm gonna just mirror it over. So I'm gonna drop a line for construction here. If you double click on a line, it just ends that line right there. So I'm gonna come in here and dimension this. And I know that's 5. And I know from center to here, I believe that was 24. Let's double check that it's from the center of the circle and not from the outside of that circle. So it is. We can see sometimes they dimension from the outside. You'll get dimension from the outside, but this one's from the center. And then 40 off of the center line. So from here to the center line is 40, so we're at 20, which is all good. So now we just need to mirror that over. So we're going to go mirror. We want this to be the mirror line, this to be what we're going to mirror. Accept that sketch. Come here on your sketch, and we're going to remove. And that's all the way through, and we're good. So we built out half of our object, which is wonderful. Now we can mirror a feature. So we're going to go mirror, and it's going to ask us what do we want to mirror, and we're going to select part 1 in our mirror plane is going to be this right plane right here. So we can just click on the right plane and accept it, and now it has mirrored that part over completely. From here we are going to assign our material, and I believe that material is brass. Check your properties, check everything here in Schoology with your mass properties. All right.